Welcome back to the Care and Conversation Studio. We are sponsored this year by Cornerstone Care Solutions, which is very exciting. And they've been asking us to invite people along and talk to people, but a classic guest that we always have is Adam Hutchinson. How are you, Adam?
Yeah, well, thank you. Good to see you again.
Yeah, you too. So, what's good? What's not good? Where's Belmont Healthcare at these days?
To be fair, lots of positives. Lots of good things happening in terms of sector-wise, I think, at the moment. We've been pretty busy, acquired more homes recently, so kind of grew the portfolio into different parts of the country, which has been quite interesting.
What's your, not that it's a yardstick, but what's your number?
Yeah, well, we always kind of fluctuate as we're looking at different levels. We've currently got 8 at the moment, so it's kind of a good number, it's a far cry from the 1 and 2 that we had when for the years as we first started out. So
many men would be happy with 8. It's
fine, but they've kind of gone through stages because we have ones where the kind of ones that we know don't work, so we have to look at kind of as physical abilities change and the kind of acuity has changed in the sector of who is at a level where they need to come into a care home. You have to realise that certain buildings just don't work anymore. Yeah. So we've kind of been in and around that number for a while, but it's different buildings as we've kind of gone, okay, that one doesn't quite work. So now we need to look at doing something that's more effective. So, for example, we had 2 smaller homes that were very close together. So what we did is we renovated the one into a much bigger home and then amalgamated the sort of residents and the teams together. So they still had somewhere, but it was much more fit for purpose and therefore created longevity. And then the other one we kind of then exited and actually got planning permission for apartments. So we've done a lot of that where we're trying to think that, our acuity levels are a lot higher now. We're moving much more into nursing over just pure residential. I mean, we're probably 30-40% nursing care now. Again, mainly around like sort of fees and sort of the type of referrals that we're getting. So we have to think about how I like to say buildings because I've been speaking to a lot of the Americans about our sector recently, and they use the word facilities, and it always makes me feel a little bit kind of queasy. So I nearly said it then. I nearly went facility. It's not a facility.
Facilities managers though, normally.
Yes,
don't
we do.
Who manage the buildings?
But calling them a healthcare facility is not quite the same, is it?
Doesn't quite sound right.
No, it sounds a little bit institutionalised.
It might have been you that maybe a few years ago we talked about the difference between sort of what a care home looked like in the 70s and what it looks like today, and how like an ICU ward in the 70s is like the same as what a care home delivers now. Is that
100%.
you? Might that been you?
Yeah, it would have been, because I'd have probably been talking about, we have a home which we've recently spent about £3 million renovating in North Kent. So it was 120 beds, all on one floor in 4 wings, and it was all ground floor. So it was like an old institutional hospital, like a Bupa style thing. And it was this kind of thing, straight corridor, brown handrail, and then a door, bedroom, sluice room, bedroom, and it was just, and that's how it was. And it did feel like that when I walked in, dark doors, like strip lighting, and that kind of where it was, whereas we need that type of facility to look after the acuity, but we need to also get them to a standard that they meet a lot more homely, a lot more warmth, a lot more kind of accessible, and people feel a lot more comfortable with saying it's okay that we've got people in care. Yeah, so that's always a challenge.
So how do you do that with something? Because obviously, building a brand new homes is a different ball game.
Absolutely.
So
scares the life out of me.
If you're renovating an existing building, how do you take something like that is okay, that sounds like something out of a nightmare, right? Like the hallway's long enough that you can't see the other end of it. Yeah. The lights come on as you walk down. It's like nightmare. What do you do in that, physically in that sort of environment?
Well, it's great because we work with a sort of care specialist architect firm, and we've worked with them on 4 projects now. So we always kind of go through. We take some of the nuances of the new builds, and then we go, right, how can we make some of that work? Let's take those walls out. Let's create. Instead of having these huge Leviathan day spaces with people all sat in a circle, let's make pockets. Let's try and do things that are like one of the day spaces we created in Wombwell again. I was adamant, and some of it's a bit me. I'm like belligerent about it. I said, there is no TV ports going in this room. There's not going to be a TV on the wall. I'm not having this kind of every room has to have a TV for people to sit around. You know, so there's things where we just look at different things and go, let's make that smaller. Let's make it, that's very much like, let's bring the dining to them. If people want to get up and be part of their own dining experience, let's do that. And kind of, so we take a lot of pockets to the new builds, but then kind of go, how can I rework that into an old building? And personally, I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
It's like, for me, our entire business model is built on buying something that needs some work, because it works for me, because I've got a lot more leverage, because it's usually trading, which means it's a lot more palatable than opening a building from scratch.
Yeah.
That scares the bejesus out of me, that does, and I let people far better than me do that. Whereas this has still got trading.
3 years to get the cash flow up to the level,
At best as well, you know, it could be 5, you know. So I think that I really enjoy that, because I also feel as well, there's so many assets out there that can either be used better or are there to be used. Why are we building? Why are we going through planning? Why are we going through that exhaustive process when we go, do you know what? Let's rework what we've already got, and maybe we could put 15 or 16 beds on that. We could turn it into something that's a lot more workable. You know, there's issues with that. Obviously, from a government perspective, it would be great if we didn't have to pay VAT, because an extension you have to pay VAT, which is so frustrating, and obviously we can't claim it back. So I think that would be helpful if we could get some breaks, and I think a lot more people would maybe look at, you know, buying something, dropping it, moving it. You know, it's no different to what people are doing in the residential market. You know, so yeah, I actually really, sadly, quite strange, really enjoy it. You know,
nice.
Which is why I end up getting this stuff.
When so then when it comes to kind of financing something like that, so obviously Cornerstone Care Solutions are our sponsors, and they work a lot with financial institutions and stuff around funding. Yeah, how do you secure funding for something like that? What do you?
Yeah, it's a lot more quirky.
It's quite,
It took a long time to get to a place where I could actually do it in certain instances. So we've got a lot of different accesses to funding now. We've got people that are quite excited about it, and as long as we don't have anything too onerous in the budget in a few weeks, we'll probably be okay, because actually financing and lending and everything is working pretty positively at the moment. You know, there's people out there that are doing, you know, really high loan to values. There are people that are really understanding the market. And I was talking on another podcast recently where somebody asked me, you know, everything's all doom and gloom in social care, and I was kind of like, I don't see it. I really don't. And people might be offended by it, but if you're looking at institutions, banks, financing, funding at the moment, right, and you've got 4 streams of where you want to put your money, are you going to put it into residential housing? No. Are you going to put it into commercial property? No, because everyone's working from home.
Yeah. Unless it's a warehouse.
Unless it's a warehouse.
Yeah, unless it's a warehouse.
Yeah, but where you put it, and it's Amazon are paying for their own, exactly, so there's no need any money. Are you going to put it into hotels and hospitality? No. Maybe, but still loose in this country at best. Healthcare, what? Like, if somebody's going to look at a long-term, asset-backed,
it's
good returns,
50-year money, isn't it? Really, it's really long-term money. So
I think it's a really, really positive place to be.
And are you finding, is there kind of minimum? I've heard the idea that forget getting funding for a 30-bedded home, but if you've got 60 beds, you're probably going to unlock that. Is that you finding that? Is it?
Yes,
do you have to have certain conditions?
I think it's down to what you can do with it. Yeah. I think a 30-bed homes work if you can, if you're getting it at the right price, you're not overpaying, and there is some way of knocking it about. I mean, I bought a 28-bed home recently, but I know that I can get 7 or 8 bedrooms in it. Not even without doing an extension, just reworking the internals, opening the loft space, putting a lift shaft in, and then all of a sudden I've just opened the home up, reworking some of the spaces, taking a lot of the storage stuff into outdoor storage. It just being a bit clever about it, and then it works. And then you're in a market where not everybody wants to be, so it becomes easy to purchase that, because I'm not up against 50 different people to try and buy something. So you'd have to think outside the box a bit.
So if you're not competing for a 65-bedded home against a VC in America.
Correct.
You're competing with nobody, because they're just not even considering that. But then you finding you're able to secure finance against those things.
Yeah, and obviously some of that is US money.
Yeah.
Like I was saying earlier, we do speak to, we have lines that come from the US. They're very interested in the UK. for various reasons.
Yeah.
And
It's because we're all old and milled and they can see it.
well, I mean, it's just because that they've done it so well over there.
Yeah.
I mean, I was there earlier on in the year at a conference, and understanding how their model works compared to ours was really interesting, because actually the nuances of it aren't that different, and it is really, really highly regarded, and they're just looking at how they can maximise that in different countries. And obviously in the UK, money hasn't been readily available, whereas in the US it is. So to them to deploy capital in the UK is a good idea, and I actually think it's actually easier. It's easier to deal with. It's a lot less arduous, a lot more open to kind of thinking outside the box. I think in the UK we can become very boxed in our funding metrics, and like I said, I'd say if there was bankers sat here, I just think sometimes they lose the plot a bit, because they strap you into a position where it's just like, actually, you've got the asset. Yeah. The asset's never really going to devalue. Let's be a bit more flexible to allow that fluid growth in the asset to help it work a little bit better.
So the message to the bankers is, give me more money.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
And of course, lower interest rate as well. Longer term, all of those things.
Absolutely, 100%.
That's really interesting. Is there any other sort of interesting innovations that you're coming across in the sector?
Well, if I'm allowed to do some bits about it. So one of the things, I'm now heavily involved with a sort of sister business of what we do, which is called Ilana. So we're doing a lot of work on this whole care journey piece. So obviously I've always been really, I think I talked about it last time I spoke to you, I've been always like super focused on making sure it's a care journey for people. And like care homes and nursing homes have their place, but there's also this huge draft of people that I think that should stay at home as long as possible, and how we manage that discharge from hospital into care home, or hospital back into home, or hospital into care home back into their own home. So we created a tech platform called Ilana about 18 months ago, which is, it works with Belmont, it works with other providers, and we're heavily embedded into hospitals, basically doing exactly that, where we've techified the process of how you can sit, family and your loved one in a hospital bed, and we can help you get out of that hospital, whether that's into a care home or into a home, using a draft of carers that we have signed up to the platform, and you can meet them. And we're even linked into Uber Eats, for example, so you could meet the carer while you sat in a hospital bed. You can then go on through that into Uber Eats, order your Morrison's groceries to be delivered to your house when you get home, and then we'll be waiting for you at the other side when you get home, and we could track the progress. And we're working on some sort of AI monitoring in the home as well, for people to stay at home for as long as they possibly can. So it's been really exciting for me to kind of really push down this, sort of double down on this kind of passion that I've always had for the journey of care. Yeah. So it starts a lot earlier and a lot more managed all the way through. And because I see my care homes as kind of that pathway 3, pathway 4. You're further down the line. I don't think you should be in a care home if you don't need to be. I really don't. Yeah. Stay in your own home. My nan is 95. She lives at home on her own. We look after her in her own home. I've sort of techified the house and made sure the bathroom is in the way, and she's got a stair lift, and all of these things to kit it out so that she's much more aware. I'm super interested in that. So it's been a really great journey being involved with something else within the sector that's really kind of tech and innovative. Yeah. And we're getting some really good feedback from people who are using it. I mean, we're in 16 hospitals across the UK now. Got nearly 4,500 carers signed up to the platform. And it also, one of the things that it does is, because it's focused on that unregulated PA market, that they get to choose how much they get paid. Yeah. So we don't charge an hourly rate. The carer says, I want to get paid £20 an hour. Yeah. That's what they put on the system, and if somebody pays that, they get paid £20 an hour. And the system sorts out their tax as a self-employed, and then we take obviously a cut. That's how we monetize it. Yeah. But we're really focused on creating this sort of tech-based kind of idea to help facilitate this ecosystem of care.
I really like the sort of concept of at the moment with home care, you've got you go from 3 visits a week, 3 visits a day, to suddenly you need to be in a care home, and there's this big gap in between for sort of enhanced home care, using technology, using sensors, using different bits and pieces, integrating the data with the doctors and that one central system, which means that people can stay at home. And for people like you that have got the technical ability, the forethought to do this, because you work in the sector, a lot of people just don't really realise, do they, until they're sort of at it, and then suddenly Nan's not very well. But she doesn't need to go into a care home. But if you don't look after her properly now, one little thing and she will need to go.
Or potentially, the reason why the NHS really like what we're doing is because we're reducing the readmission rate.
Yeah.
Because that's the big problem. It's getting people out of hospital and it's making sure they don't go back in.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we're integrating into it is we're working on sensory equipment that's going to be in the home. We're working on an AI platform that's kind of measuring what they're... So, for example, if your nan or granddad goes and has a cup of tea at 7:15 every morning and the kettle goes on, and then one day it doesn't, well, at the moment, nobody knows that.
Yeah.
Well, the application and the software will go, hang on a minute, kettle hasn't gone on. It sends a notification on the app, first to the family, then to the carers, and we can then loop back and go in. And they can even go through and book a GP appointment, and they can have it, obviously it's a private GP appointment at the moment, because that's the only way we could do it. But you're paying 30 quid for a 20-minute appointment, and you can actually get somebody on your iPad while you're in your house who can prescribe medication to you. It's this whole ecosystem idea, which I'm like I said, super passionate about doing, because I think that they're the customer base that I can't really help, and I also don't think it's fair that they come to me in a care home, and there is this gap. And what we're doing with Alana is trying to fill this gap from sort of what I call pathway 0, pathway 1, pathway 2, and then 3 and 4 is when it's the care home bit. So we're trying to basically consolidate this 1 to 2 piece, 0 to 2 piece, which then begins, by techifying it. I think it'll be something really exciting. Like I said, a lot of people are really jumping on board with it, so we're super excited about it.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. Yeah, so
it is
Ilana,
Ilana.
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 Yeah, so
it was originally called Care Site. Care CIT.
Ilana's better.
Ilana, and we just wanted to take it away from this care in there, and it was very fortunate. I mean, I've been looking at something like this for a while, but never had the bandwidth, and then just met a group of people with similar, like-minded. Met the founders, and then I'm a executive member of the board now, and I, probably 20-30% of my week is now involved in Ilana, like as we grow that, and it's going from strength to strength. So keep an eye on it.
Nice. Sounds very interesting.
Yeah, it's good. Really enjoying it.
Interested to hear how it's going next time we talk.
Yeah,
I think that would be good. So
yeah.
I've got a final question for you.
Okay.
It's a big one.
Oh, here we go.
If you were a biscuit, what type of biscuit would you be?
That is a tough one, but I do love a chocolate hobnob.
Chocolate hobnob?
That's it. That's where I'm at. Solid biscuit, that.
Nice. I do actually have one more question to ask you. You've had some interactions with Cornerstone in the past, haven't you? Yeah?
We have, yes. We had a very successful sort of transaction, let's call it, with them probably 6-7 years ago now, where we acquired a home that they were operating on behalf of the banks.
Yeah. Good, all
Fantastic.
good, yeah. I mean,
Great.
just say nice stuff.
Well, we were literally, every time we come to a show like this or we're at an event, we'll always catch up, we'll always have a chat, we always remember fond memories for me, not so much for Lucy and her team, because there was a big snow incident, and I remember they got stuck in snow, and a farmer had to get them out and get well, though, because they were travelling to and from the care home in those early days, and they had it in good shape.
That was Madeira Lodge, wasn't it?
No, it was Edendale Lodge.
Oh, okay, right. Perfect.
Another lodge, but Edendale Lodge. It was called something else. It was Green Hill. There you are. Green Hill Care Home at the time, but we had to rebrand. The reputation was tarnished. not by Cornerstone, of course. Yes, that wasn't on the snowy day, thank God. Yeah. So we had really good interactions, and hopefully, I'm sure we'll see them on some more. Yeah. Because, like I said, our big thing is focusing on, is stuff that's not necessarily failing, but stuff that needs some love. That's kind of what I enjoy doing. I don't think I've ever bought anything that's been trading well. Yeah. Everything's always been a CQC problem or cash flow problem or administration. I just find that that's where I'm happy. Yeah. So we'll do some more of that.
Easier to add value, I suppose. Not easier, but
and it's so much going back to the banks. It's much better sale to the banks, because you're adding to something, not buying it top end. And the problem is, if you've got a really, really good care home at the moment, it's trading really, really well. Why are you selling it? Yeah. Because you want big money for it, or you may as well just keep it, because it's great lifestyle business for some people. If it's just that 1 or 2 homes, let's be honest, it is.
Nice. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
And I'll see you. Enjoy the rest of the show.
I will do.
Thank you. Right, we'll be back shortly with our next guest.